Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make yourself comfortable, because today's story is one of the most emotional, inspiring, and unforgettable journeys ever to come out of the Got Talent universe. This isn't just about a young singer. This is about a songwriter, a storyteller, and a kid who walked onto the stage with nothing but his guitar and a heart full of truth. This is the rise, the struggle, and the shockingly overlooked brilliance of Bailey McConnell, the young star Simon Cowell missed on Britain's Got Talent. Before we get deep into this emotional roller coaster, take a second to breathe, because Bailey's story isn't simple. It is moving, raw, and filled with lessons about creativity, loss, resilience, and what it really means to perform from the soul. Let's begin from the moment everything changed. A young boy with blonde hair, a shy smile, and a guitar that almost seemed too big for him stepped onto the Britain's Got Talent stage. The lights were blinding, the crowd was restless, and the judges looked curious. To many, he looked like just another singer. Another self-taught kid hoping for a chance. But inside Bailey, there was something deeper. A story waiting to be told. A wound still healing. A message he needed the world to hear. When Simon asked him what he'd be performing, Bailey said something that instantly changed the atmosphere of the room. He said he would be performing an original song. A song he wrote himself. The judges looked up. The audience leaned in. Original songs on these stages are risky. They can either fall flat or hit harder than any cover ever could. And Bailey's bravery at that moment, his willingness to open his heart to millions of people, already set him apart. The guitar strings rang softly as he began. His voice, quiet at first, grew stronger with every note. It was the kind of voice that didn't try too hard. It didn't scream. It didn't show off. Instead, it pulled listeners in gently, the way a memory does when you least expect it. Bailey wasn't singing at the judges. He wasn't performing for applause. He was sharing a piece of his world. The song he performed, titled Dying Whole, was written about a time when he felt lost, alone, and unsure of his place in the world. It was about friendship, heartbreak, and betrayal. But what made it powerful wasn't the lyrics alone. It was the honesty behind them. Bailey wrote from real experience. From real pain. And even though he was young, his music carried the weight of someone who had lived more than his years. As he sang, the camera captured the judges' faces. Alicia Dixon's expression softened. David Walliams leaned forward. Amanda Holden's eyes began to glisten. And even Simon Cowell, known for his stone-cold exterior, looked genuinely moved. You could almost see the walls breaking down. Bailey's voice was reaching them, not through technical perfection, but through raw emotion. When he finished, the silence in the room was heavy. The kind of silence that doesn't happen often. A silence where everyone is still breathing in the echo of what they just witnessed. And then, the audience erupted into applause. People stood. Cheers filled the theater. Simon looked at Bailey with a mixture of surprise and admiration. He told him that he had something special. Something unique. Something real. But while Simon praised him, fans around the world would later say something else. Something bigger. Something the judges didn't fully see yet. They said that Bailey wasn't just good. He was extraordinary. And they were right. What made Bailey McConnell stand out wasn't just his voice. It was his songwriting. Songwriting is a powerful art. It requires courage, vulnerability, and the ability to translate feelings into something universal. And, even though Bailey was still a teenager, he had mastered this craft in a way that amazed both musicians and audiences. But let's rewind for a moment, because Bailey's journey didn't begin on the BGT stage. It began long before that, in quiet rooms, late nights, and emotional battles that most adults struggle to handle. Bailey's childhood had its fair share of challenges. Like many young artists, he didn't always fit in. He wasn't the loudest kid. He wasn't the most outgoing. He wasn't the class clown or the star athlete. Bailey was the kind of kid who felt deeply. Who noticed small things. Who carried emotions like heavy stones in his pockets. And sometimes, that made him feel isolated. Like many young people, Bailey encountered the harsh reality of losing friendships. Of feeling betrayed. Of being misunderstood. And for someone with a sensitive soul, that kind of pain cuts deeper than most people realize. Instead of lashing out or shutting down, Bailey turned to music. His guitar became his therapy. His notebook became his safe space. And songwriting became the way he processed the world. Many artists say that the best songs come from real emotions. From a place of truth. And Bailey proved that to be true. Every line he wrote came from something he experienced. Something he survived. Something he was still trying to understand. And when he shared his songs with the world, he wasn't just performing. He was healing. Back on the Britain's Got Talent stage, Bailey made it through the auditions with flying colors. His video went viral. Millions of people watched it. Thousands of comments poured in. People said he had the soul of an old poet, the voice of a rising star, and the courage of someone who refused to hide his feelings. Bailey wasn't just another contestant. He was a storyteller. But as the competition continued, something unexpected happened. Something fans still talk about to this day. Despite his incredible talent, emotional depth, and originality, Bailey McConnell didn't go as far in the competition as many believed he deserved. And this sparked conversations around the world. People were shocked, confused, and heartbroken. How could someone so genuine, so talented, so emotionally powerful, slip through the cracks? Some said it was timing. Others said the competition was fierce that year. Some believed that his style was too subtle compared to the big, flashy acts that often win talent shows. But many fans pointed to something else entirely. They believed that Simon Cowell, the toughest judge of them all, missed a huge opportunity. They believed Simon didn't fully grasp the star Bailey could become. This wasn't an attack on Simon. After all, even the best talent scout in the world can miss a hidden gem. But Bailey's fans insisted that he was exactly the type of artist the world needed, a songwriter with depth, heart, vulnerability, and sincerity. After the show, Bailey continued writing music. He continued sharing his voice. And as he grew older, he matured not only as a musician but as a person. The pain he once wrote about evolved into wisdom. The insecurities he once carried transformed into courage. And the shy teenager with a guitar became a confident young artist ready to take on the world. Bailey's music changed too. His lyrics became richer. His melodies became stronger. His presence grew more compelling. He wasn't just writing songs about heartbreak anymore. He was writing about growth, healing, identity, purpose. He was writing the kind of music people play when they need to feel understood. People often underestimate the power of authentic artists. Artists who write from the heart rather than chasing trends. Artists who care more about connection than fame. Bailey was one of those artists. And that's why his fans spoke up. They didn't want him to disappear into the noise. They wanted him to shine. One of the most powerful things about Bailey's journey is how many people saw themselves in him. Young fans who felt alone. Teenagers dealing with anxiety. Kids who didn't fit in. Adults who carried childhood wounds. Bailey's songs reminded them they weren't alone. That their feelings mattered. That vulnerability was a strength, not a weakness. Even today, when people search for his audition online, the comments are filled with emotional messages. People say the performance still brings them to tears. They say his voice feels like a warm hand on a cold heart. They say his words helped them through some of the hardest times in their lives. That's impact. That's talent. That's what real music does. But the most inspiring part of all is this: Bailey never stopped. He never let his placement in the competition define him. He never let the disappointment control his future. Instead, he used it as fuel. As a reminder that the biggest validation doesn't always come from judges or trophies. Sometimes it comes from the people who listen. The people who relate. The people who feel seen. In many ways, Bailey's story is a lesson for every young artist. A lesson that talent shows, while powerful platforms, do not determine your destiny. A lesson that rejection is not failure. And a lesson that the world will always make room for authenticity, even if it takes time. As the years passed, Bailey continued to build his musical identity. New songs, new performances, new followers. He collaborated with other artists, experimented with styles, and refined his sound. Every step he took moved him closer to the artist he was meant to become. And the truth is, sometimes the stars who don't win end up shining the brightest later on. Many believe that one day, Bailey will release a song or an album that takes the world by storm. A song that climbs the charts. A song that becomes a soundtrack to someone's life. A song that finally proves to everyone, including Simon Cowell, that he was never just a contestant. He was a star in the making. But let's take a moment to reflect on something even deeper. Bailey's audition wasn't powerful because it was perfect. It was powerful because it was human. Because in a world full of noise, he offered silence. In a world full of performances, he offered truth. And in a world full of competition, he offered connection. That's what makes his story unforgettable. Simon Cowell himself has said many times that the music industry needs more originality. More heartfelt songwriting. More performers who understand emotion rather than just technique. And whether Simon realized it fully at the time or not, Bailey was exactly that. So why is Bailey McConnell the young star Simon missed? Because sometimes greatness isn't loud. Sometimes it isn't flashy. Sometimes it isn't wrapped in confidence or boldness. Sometimes greatness walks onto the stage with a shy smile, a guitar, and a song that carries the weight of 1,000 unspoken feelings. And sometimes the world doesn't catch on right away. But eventually, it does. It always does. Because truth has a way of making itself heard. And Bailey's story is far from over. In fact, it might just be beginning. Fans continue to support him. New listeners continue to discover him. And every time someone watches that BGT audition, they feel something real. Something that stays with them long after the video ends. That's the mark of a true artist. In the end, Bailey McConnell may not have won Britain's Got Talent. But he won something far more important. The hearts of people around the world who were touched by his courage, his story, and his music. And that kind of impact can't be judged. It can't be scored. It can't be predicted. It simply happens. As we wrap up today's video, remember this. Some stars shine instantly. Others grow slowly, quietly, beautifully, until one day the world looks up and realizes they've been glowing all along. Bailey McConnell is one of those stars. And whether Simon missed it or not, millions of fans never did. And they never will. Thanks for watching. If you felt something today, if Bailey's story touched your heart, leave a comment. Share this video. And stay tuned for more deep dive stories of extraordinary talents and the journeys behind them.